Buenos días todos. Hoy me gustaría hablar de la pronunciación española. Hello everyone. Today I would like to talk about Spanish pronunciation. And by the end of this video, my primary goal is that you will be able to correctly pronounce any Spanish word that you encounter. Vamos a comenzar con el alfabeto español. We're going to begin with the Spanish alphabet. I'm going to run through each individual letter and the example given in this image. And then we're going to do a quick run through of all the letters once again and move on. A. Abanico. A. B. Bailarín. And this comes from the verb bailar, which means to dance. B. C. Castañuelas. There's actually two ways to say C. If the C is followed by an I or an E, then you pronounce it se. If it's followed by any other vowel, que. Castañuelas. Castañuelas, it's a percussion instrument, basically. De. Dragón. De. The Spanish D is actually pronounced a little bit differently than the English D. In English, when you make the D sound, you usually put your tongue on the roof of your mouth. Duh. Duh. But in Spanish and Italian and I believe even Russian, you put your tongue on the back of your two front teeth, kind of like with the word the in English, the, but you make a D sound. De, dragón, de, de. Erizo, erizo. F, fuego, F, fuego. G. This letter G in Spanish is pronounced G, and it also has two different sounds, like the C. When it's followed by an I or an E, it's pronounced G, and when followed by another vowel, G, like in English. Gato, gato, G. H. The H in Spanish is silent when used in words, but the letter is pronounced H. Helado. H. Helado. I. Iguana. I. Iguana. Jota. The letter J in Spanish is pronounced Jota, and it sounds like an H in English. Jirafa. Giraffe. Jirafa. Jota. Que. Que. Kiwi. Que. Simple. L. Lagarto. L. Lagarto. M. Morsa. M. Morsa. N. Narval. N. Narval. And now we have a letter that's relatively new to us, but we're already familiar with it because of the weather phenomenon that is named El Niño, and there's also La Niña. El Niño is Spanish for the boy, while La Niña is Spanish for the girl. And this letter is pronounced Nye, Nye, Ñandu, Ñandu, Nye. O, oliva, O, oliva. Pe, pescado, Pe, pescado. Q, qual, Q, qual. This is a just little mammal. It's called qual. Q. Arre, rosa, arre, rosa. This is probably the letter that gives English speakers the most trouble when learning Spanish, because you have to roll your tongue, the roof of your mouth, to produce this sound. Arre, arre. Honestly, it just takes a lot of practice, but you will get it down if you want to. If you try hard enough, you will get it. Arre, rosa. S, sandía. S, sandía. T, tucán. T, tucán. U, uvas. U, uvas. B, vaca. B, vaca. Okay, this is a little strange, but the B and the V in Spanish, for the most part, sound exactly the same. They're both pronounced be. Be. Vaca, bailarín. And we have W, W, which translates to double V, but we call it double U. And W is not a native letter in Spanish. It's mainly used in words that are borrowed from English or possibly other languages. But it sounds the same. Wombat. Wombat. W. X. X. Xilófono. X. You may be familiar with the pronunciation of this letter, X, from the beer. Dos X, two X's. X. Y. Yate. Y. Now, this one sounds just like the E, the I, E, in terms of how the letter itself is pronounced. E, E. But we call the Y Y to differentiate it. And griega is an adjective that means Greek, so it's a Greek I, basically. Y griega, yate. Then we have zeta, zeta, zapatos, zeta. And I should point out that zeta in Latin America, it is pronounced zeta, like a Z. But in Spain, at least in the majority of Spain, this letter is pronounced like a TH. Feta. Zapatos. Feta. So it just depends on where you are to how you pronounce it. And then we have che. This is actually no longer an official letter in Spanish, but it's still distinctive. Che. Chocolate. Che. Then we have another new one, which is two L's, doble eje, 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 llave. It's kind of pronounced like a Y with a little bit of a j, llave, llave. And then the infamous double R in Spanish. This is going to give you a lot of trouble until you practice and practice and just get your tongue used to making that motion. Arre, arre, perro. Arre, perro. Now I'm going to run through it relatively quickly and we'll move on. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, Ñ, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, Ch, Y, y arre. Now here are three very important rules that I wish my Spanish teachers taught me in high school, but I didn't learn this until about 3 to 4 years after learning Spanish. When the word has an accent, the stress is placed in the word on the accent. That's relatively simple, easy to understand, but when the word ends in a consonant that is not N and not S, then the stress falls on the final syllable. So when the last letter in the word is a consonant that is not N and it is not S, stress falls on the last syllable. However, when the word ends in a vowel, an N, or an S, the stress is placed on the penultimate syllable. And that's basically a fancy word for the syllable before the final syllable. Now we're going to run through a few examples to familiarize ourselves with this phenomenon. Verbos infinitivos. Infinitive verbs are the basic form of verbs that have not been altered in any way, and we'll get to conjugations at another time. But all infinitive verbs have the stress placed on the final syllable because they end in an R. Hacer, tener, correr, dormir, trasladar, dar. And then we have conjugated verbs, verbos conjugados, and this actually makes the rule a lot more easier to understand. in the present tense conjugations of verbs, it always ends in a vowel, an N, or an S. So in the present tense, all of these conjugated verbs have the stress placed on the penultimate syllable. Haces, tengo, corren, dormieron, trasladas. And then we have words like crucial, esencial, lentitud, fugaz, cicatriz. And these all have the stress placed on the final syllable. Bonito, lindo, lento. These are three adjectives. Beautiful. Lindo means like nice, pretty, etc. And lento is slow. And they all have the stress placed on the penultimate syllable because they have no accent and N in the vowel. Gafas, venganza, aspecto, tren, claro. And then we have a few examples of words with accents. Escéptico, insólito, relámpago, simpático. These accents are placed because the stress does not fall on the final or the penultimate syllable, but rather on a syllable before that. And therefore, we place a stress on that syllable. Refrigerador. This word took me so long to be able to say because it has 4 R's. And the rolled R, as I have mentioned previously, is quite difficult for English speakers. So just practice this word every day until you can say it perfectly. And then your rolled R's will be at native level, hopefully. Refrigerador. You don't necessarily have to hold out the trill on the R's in the middle. You can just kind of tap it, and you'll learn to understand that. Refrigerador. Refrigerador. La letra G. As I said previously, this is a little bit of a weird one. When it's followed by an E or an I, it's pronounced G. But followed by anything else, and it is G. Gato, delgado. Género, girasol. Gordo, gutural. See the pattern here? And it's kind of the same with the letter C. When the C is followed by an E or an I, it's pronounced kind of like an S. And when it's followed by an A, O, or U, then it is pronounced like a K, kind of like a K. K. And then we have words like guerra, when it's followed by a U and an E, guerra. However, when that U has the 2 little dots over it, it's pronounced more with a gue, vergüenza. And then we have, when it's followed by UI, guitarra, the same. And then when the U has the 2 little dots on it, we give it the gui sound. Pinguino. Hai un pinguino. Alright, that was an Italian accent. I'm sorry. Moving on to la letra D. This one took me a long time to understand, because it was never really clarified to me that they sound exactly the same. Look at these examples. Vitrio, basura, paca, bailar, ave, bella, viernes, abeja. Notice how the B and the V sound exactly the same. There are very subtle differences that I'm not going to get into because they're really not important in terms of speaking the language. So, moving on. Alright, here I have a extensive list of words for you just to practice your pronunciation. Don't worry too much about memorizing the words. We'll get to that stuff later. But the main focus of this video is that you walk away knowing how to pronounce practically any Spanish word that you come across. So I'm going to go through each of these words and you just repeat after me. Okay? Práctica. Practice. Gato. Gata. Perro. We also have perra, that's a female dog, and also another word that I am not going to repeat. Reloj. This one was always a little difficult for me because it ends with a sound. Reloj. Alrededor. botella, agua, pájaro, ave. Pájaro and ave are both the same thing. They both mean bird, just different ways to say it. Perro. Now notice the difference between perro, which means butt, and perro, which means dog. You just trill the R longer for perro, dog, and perro, but you just kind of tap the roof of your mouth rather than trill it. Perro. Verbo. Palabra. Enseñar. Hacer. Libro. Guerra. Primero. And because I'm a language nerd, I just added a couple of names of languages in Spanish. Because, you know, I do that. We have español. Español. Están aprendiendo español. You are all learning Spanish. Inglés. Italiano. Ruso. Japonés. Chino. Alemán. Francés. Ok, eso es todo por hoy y nos vemos pronto. Hasta luego.